This is Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces, and we have a lovely, expressive full moon in Capricorn to talk about. So let's get into it. So, how are y'all doing? I feel like it has been a bit of a ride that we've been on for the past several weeks, perhaps at this point. That Gemini new moon was all kinds of topsy-turvy, twisty, bendy, what's real, what's imaginary kind of vibes. And we are still approaching some unpredictable weather as well. We've talked a little bit about Pluto coming into square the nodes right as they shift into Aries and Libra. We've talked about Venus stationing retrograde. So there's still quite a bit of uncertainty that we are navigating. And that's where this full moon is kind of a nice, sweet respite from everything we've been moving through. The moon is traditionally in fall in Capricorn, and what that means is it doesn't have all of the resources it needs to fully express and own all of its emotions. Now, some of what makes this full moon a little bit sweeter than perhaps some other Capricorn lunations is that we have a trine to Jupiter right as the moon is waxing into fullness, and that adds a bit of groundedness, of pleasure from Taurus, which is a sign that the moon loves. We also have Mercury opposing this full moon, and Mercury in Cancer is very connected to what we are feeling emotionally. This is actually a signature of T Swift. So, if anything, what traditionally gets swept under the rug emotionally and a Capricorn moon might defy expectations at this full moon. Mercury opposite the moon is expressive. It is absolutely clear on what it's feeling, and it is driven and canalized to express those feelings. Mercury in Cancer is a little bit nostalgic, and we may be feeling a little bit of a Six of Cups vibes in terms of reflecting on the past. We may be waxing nostalgic at this time, full moon puns, and we might feel compelled to tell people how we feel about them. I'm thinking that this is in a sweet, warm kind of way. However, there may absolutely be some element of confrontation, and opposition is really two bodies staring each other down. But for all intents and purposes, this feels like it could be kind of a gentle pause in the broader uncertain weather we've been navigating collectively. And this may be a time where we're getting in touch with our feelings. We are doing something to get clear on what we feel and having some kind of catharsis, perhaps, in that way. So, it stands to be a gentle time, a vocal time, a sigh in the midst of everything that's changing around us, and an invitation to connect. Oppositions want us to express something in order to find each other, and that is how we relate. And so it's really a time where we are touching base with each other and we're expressing what feelings are coming to the surface while feeling leisurely, perhaps. It is, of course, America's holiday, and people may have free time that they are using to connect with each other, to connect with pleasure, and to kind of celebrate what we've been building up to. Capricorn being that theme of legacy, of structure, of kind of nurturance on a bigger structural scale. So we might be thinking about and connecting with other people about what it is that we are kind of collectively building together, what it is that we envision for what it is that we create in these resources that we share together at this time. Let's go ahead and look back on the cards that we pulled so far in the cycle at our Gemini new moon and our Libra first quarter moon and see what we are building up to in this Capricorn full moon. Okay, so here we are looking at the pull from our Gemini new moon from 2 weeks ago and looking back on last week's Libra first quarter moon. If you haven't checked those out and you want to catch up, go ahead and click on over there and meet us back here when you're done. Okay, so at this full moon, we are looking at a situation that is culminating now, as well as how we can make space for this situation or revelation. We're asking what we are able to celebrate at the light of this full moon. And lastly, what we are able to release as this moon begins to wane. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got. And as you know, we are leading up to a Cancer new moon right at the end of Cancer season. So fun to see what we are celebrating right now. Okay. All right. Make room. All right, here we go. So a situation that is culminating now. It's the Four of Pentacles reversed. Wow, that's a reversal that I think can be welcome. When we see the Four of Pentacles upright, we tend to be holding on tightly. We are trying to save up if we're thinking about money. We are trying to conserve energy if we're thinking about pentacles being tangible and resources. So we're thinking about kind of holding on to what we have for the future. Maybe we're trying to save up for something. And so when we see a reversal with the four, we might be finally stepping out of a place of conservatism, whether it's financial or otherwise. We might be able to, or maybe called to, spend a little more on something. Maybe there is something that's slightly out of our budget or our price range, but now is the time to go for it. Maybe we are finally able to step out of a place of scarcity or saving and able to splurge a little bit. That makes sense with this trine to Jupiter. We can think about Jupiter expanding things. And so we can see this being positive, negative, a responsibility that we have to respond to, but there is some call to kind of turn over the coin purse a bit, if you will, or shake the tree and collect some of the extra fruit that is left over from our harvest, for example. Okay, so how we can make space for this situation or this revelation now is the Empress. Well, isn't that divine? What we have here in the Four of Pentacles, we've got these roots that are kind of stretching outward from the container. This tree wants to take up more space, but it doesn't have access to it right now, which is where in the reversal, we see that we're kind of making those moves now. In the Empress, we recognize that there is soil all around us. We are the land that we are perhaps growing into, stretching into. Remembering that we are this kind of fertile space that is capable of holding and nourishing and feeding and allowing many things to grow. This is one plant that's looking for room, that's looking for nutrients. This is the land, right? This is all of the plants. This is something, a fish out of water, and this is the sea. So I love this invitation to recognize perhaps where we have an access to an abundance at this time, where we are embodying abundance in our lives currently, making space within our vast landscape, whatever that looks like for you right now. What we are able to celebrate in the light of this moon. Okay, it's the Six of Pentacles. Wow, so earthy. Jupiter in Taurus, moon in Capricorn. Okay, we have lots of like earthy, grounding things happening here. So what we can celebrate is maybe
seeing this 4 stretch into this 6 a bit, where we have needed to be conservative for ourselves. Perhaps we have extra to give others at this time. Perhaps there's extra for us to receive at this time. So we could be on either side of this beautiful equation. We could be the tree that we're shaking and there's a little bit extra coming out and we're able to share. We could be one of these hands that is really excited and eager to receive some abundance and is in the right place at the right time. So there's certainly something kind of being balanced out here. The 6 is kind of a equalizer is not the right word, but there's something where we're able to, something kind of shakes out. I'm just going to stick with this shaking the tree metaphor because it's really stuck on me. So something's able to shake out right now that maybe we have been hoping for, waiting for, or really praying could be possible. It looks like there's some sort of abundance that's coming through. Okay, and what can we release in the light of this moon? Oh, wow, this is a card of release. So this is kind of meta. Something emotional. All of these we talked about being tangible, being plentiful, being earthly, and something emotional we're able to walk away from. Perhaps this shows us back to our Mercury moon opposition, where Mercury has just had this cazimi with the sun, and we've just had some clarity on something emotional in Cancer, wherever that may be in our charts. And so here we are making some sort of distance from that thing that we've identified, taking steps away, sailing off into the sunset, allowing something to be finished. So this release is very emotional and it's a bit meta. Maybe we're releasing the need to walk away. Maybe we're finally done being done. Maybe it's been a process to sail away, to get these ships ready, to get the resources we need. Perhaps we've been saving up to walk away. That could be, that could absolutely be something connected. We've been hoping that we could save up for this thing, and now we've been in the right place at the right time. We have this access to this abundance mindset, and we have gotten the resources that we need to finally set sail away from something. Okay, talk about legacy, talk about what it is that we are building up to collectively. It may be that being connected to community on the giving end, on the receiving end, has made something possible, a long awaited departure perhaps, and we're able to move toward what is going to fill that emotional need, that hunger moving forward. Oh, this is pretty potent considering at the end of the Libra first quarter moon, we saw the Seven of Cups kind of showing us where our emotions were informing our choices. Now we get to kind of make this choice to move away from perhaps what hasn't been nurturing us or has not been able to provide somehow. Okay, y'all, this feels this feels like closure in some capacity. This feels like a deep relief, I think, being resourced in some way that we've been craving or needing. Let me know how this resonates for you in the comments. And go ahead and take my full moon poll. I'd love to know what's coming up for you. If you enjoyed this, please like it, please share it, please subscribe. And I'll see you here next week to talk about our third quarter moon in Aries. See you then, and thanks for watching.